Hello everyone, my name is David. Let's start today's lesson. Society is obsessed with beauty. Every day we are bombarded with images of thin, beautiful women and athletic, handsome men who sell us makeup, cars, music, and movies. Fashion magazines feature photos of models that have been altered with computer software. Faced with so much perfection, we start to wonder, if I don't look like these people, am I still attractive? More of us are developing a negative body image at a young age. One study by the University of Washington found that by age 13, 53% of American girls are unhappy with their body. With this body image comes a host of psychological issues, including depression, self-hatred, and eating disorders. Today's lesson has two parts. In part 1, we will look at negative body image. In part 2, we will examine how to overcome a negative body image. Before we discuss what negative body image is, let's first examine the idea of body image itself. The concept was developed by an Austrian psychiatrist named Paul Schindler. He defined it as a person's perception of their body, or how someone personally sees their body. This perception is influenced by certain ideals within our society and culture. In other words, our body image is developed within a larger set of beauty standards. For example, in the UK, heavy cosmetics use tends to be standard among women. One study found that UK women spend 474 days of their lives putting on makeup. That's 3 hours and 19 minutes a week. However, in France, it is more popular for women to go for a natural look with minimal makeup. If our body image becomes distorted, it may lead to a negative body image. A negative body image is a psychological disorder where someone has an unfavorable view of their body. They feel as if their body is not attractive enough and have an unrealistic perception of how their body actually looks. Other people may think we look quite thin, but we may see a little arm fat and think we're seriously overweight. People with a negative body image are convinced that other people are more attractive than they are. They can't be comfortable with how they look and judge their bodies based on external ideals of beauty. So someone with a normal-looking stomach may look in the mirror and think, my stomach looks disgusting because attractive people have six-packs and I don't have any abs. Naturally, people with negative body image issues tend to be deeply self-conscious. They frequently criticize their own appearance, from their weight to their height, from their skin to their smile. Even something as trivial as gaining a pound may ruin their day. They believe nothing about them is good enough and are often very critical of themselves. Because of their low self-worth and fixation on their physical flaws, people with a negative body image may try to alter their appearance in unhealthy ways. For example, they may have plastic surgery or attempt to lose weight by not eating. It's estimated that around 30 million people in the United States have eating disorders because of issues relating to body image. Some people may say the causes of negative body image are rooted in our personalities. People who have body image disorders can naturally exhibit critical and perfectionist traits. They may set unrealistically high standards for themselves, and anything that falls short of those standards is seen as a failure. For example, if we think supermodels are beautiful, we may believe that if we don't look like a supermodel, then we're not beautiful. But our expectations are much too high to be achievable. Supermodels are a tiny % of the population. By comparing ourselves to them, we're just making ourselves miserable. Upbringing can also play a role in how we feel about ourselves and our appearance. For example, if we grew up in a house where our mother was constantly criticizing our weight, we may become highly self-conscious about how we look. Or maybe our classmates used to make fun of our bad skin in high school, so even now, when we get a small pimple, it can feel like the size of a basketball. The tough experiences we have when we're young can create enduring negative memories, especially when they involve people close to us, like our parents. If our father felt that we weren't athletic enough and constantly compared us to more athletic friends, our body image may be tied up in our father's approval and sense of self-worth. But the factor with the greatest influence on body image is our culture and society. Without established beauty standards reinforced day after day throughout our lives, we would have nothing to compare ourselves to. Of course, our society will always have beauty standards, just as it has moral and behavioral standards. Within any group, shared standards and values emerge and evolve, and there's nothing inherently wrong with collective ideals about beauty. But in the 21st century, many argue that our beauty standards have become narrow, distorted, and virtually unattainable. And in this environment, it is all too easy for people to feel as if they aren't attractive. As we've learned before, beauty standards have changed a lot over human history. Sometimes we have idealized thin figures, other times we have idealized curvy figures. But no matter which era, our beauty standards were always based on natural figures. However, in the 21st century, our concept of male and female beauty has become narrowly defined and unrealistic. Women need to have both large breasts and bottoms, but also have flat abs and thin legs. In other words, they need to be both curvy and thin at the same time. Our culture seems to want women both ways, and it is not an easy expectation to fulfill. Men, meanwhile, have gone from needing to be somewhat athletic to looking like carefully carved sculptures of meat. The ideal male body type has large, defined muscles and almost no body fat. For the first time in history, men are reporting to feel the same body image issues as women. It's no longer enough to be fit. Even regular men feel like they need to look like athletes. For men and women, the pressure to conform to these standards can be tremendous. Failure to meet them can make people feel undesirable and worthless, not truly manly or sexy, and thus undeserving of love, confidence, or even happiness. The idealization of these body types has not emerged in isolation. It is a product of our media. Magazines, advertisements, and movies play a significant role in associating beauty with ideas of happiness, self-esteem, and success. Advertising uses beauty to suggest that we need products and services to be happy, attractive, and liked. Sometimes the messaging can be direct, as we can see with this advertisement for diet pills from the London Metro. The ad meant to compare the woman's body, which is probably what Beachbody is referring to, with our own bodies. Of course, our bodies don't look like that, but if we buy those diet pills, maybe they would. It deliberately makes the viewer feel insecure about their body. In fact, this ad was banned in the UK over concerns that it may promote negative body image issues. But other times, advertisements are subtle. By having beautiful people happily enjoying a product, the connection between beauty and happiness, or beauty and success, is simply implied. Even if we aren't interested in buying a product, the repeated exposure to beautiful people enjoying themselves can have an impact on our body image. We may think, if I look that way, would I be like that person in the ad? Would I have more friends? Would I be happier? Taken in the context of one advertisement, of course it's easy to dismiss this way of thinking as unrealistic. But it's estimated that we are exposed to 400 to 600 media images per day. We don't have time to think about them. We just subconsciously absorb these scenes of happy, attractive, satisfied people. And it leaves an unhealthy impression toward our own image. What makes the effects more destructive is that these photos are almost always altered with computer software. Through programs like Photoshop, people's ideal features are enhanced, while unattractive features are simply removed. So we are basing our standards on looks that are pretty much impossible to achieve. As a society, we tend to equate attractive physical qualities with positive personal qualities. So negative body image can not only make us feel physically inadequate, but it may also eat away at our sense of identity. Our society has very strong prejudices when it comes to weight. Thinness is often associated with health and success. It suggests that we're active, but also responsible. When we're thin or fit, it gives the impression that we take care of our bodies and our lives. Being overweight, on the other hand, is associated with laziness, unattractiveness, and poor decisions. The prejudice tends to be that overweight people choose to be overweight. Unlike thin people, overweight people don't watch what they eat and don't take care of themselves. By extension, they aren't active and they aren't willing to improve themselves. In this sense, society sees fatness as a moral failing. So when our body image is tied up in cultural ideas of socially desirable behavior, our appearance becomes a reflection of who we are inside. And that can lead to troubling behavior. Some either experience eating problems or wear themselves out at the gym every day, while others resort to medical operations to get the body image they want. Body image is often connected to insecurities about weight, especially for young women. There is tremendous pressure on women to be thin. In many cases, this pressure manifests itself as eating disorders. Women may become anorexic, a condition in which they stop eating entirely and lose a dangerous amount of weight. Another common condition is bulimia. People with bulimia feel shame about putting on weight and fall into cycles where they overeat and then vomit the food back up, or overeat and then starve themselves. Other times, insecurities may take the form of over-exercising. Obsessed with looking more muscular or skinnier, People go to the gym every day of the week and possibly for several hours a day. But pushing our bodies too intensely can lead to fatigue and exhaustion, which dramatically increases our chances of hurting ourselves. As our Dongni course says, exercise and a certain amount of strenuous physical activity are important for maintaining good health. But fatigue is an important warning sign that the body has reached its limit. Therefore, it's a good idea to stop an activity at the first sign of fatigue, but people who overexercise may work out even when they're fatigued. Another common result of negative body image is plastic surgery. People who feel self-conscious about their eyes, nose, lips, chin, or breasts may try to physically alter them. In South Korea and China, for example, where large eyes are a sign of attractiveness, many people go in for surgery to widen their eyes. In some cases, plastic surgery is becoming a social expectation. In an article by Vice News, it was reported getting eye surgery and nose jobs is so common in South Korea that it has become almost a necessity. Mothers have begun to encourage their daughters to get plastic surgery because they're afraid their daughters will be seen as ugly. Of course, plastic surgery is an individual choice and not morally wrong. But when society begins to believe that people are born unattractive and can only become beautiful by surgically altering their faces, then perhaps it reflects a deeper problem with body image. Considering the environment we live in, it seems impossible not to develop some kind of body image issue. And that's why it's more important than ever for us to learn to accept ourselves and our bodies. But how exactly do we overcome negative body image? Building a positive body image begins from within. A negative body image is the culmination of personal habits and behaviors that weaken our confidence. We need to identify what those habits are and learn to avoid them. As we said above, people with unrealistic body issues tend to be hypercritical. When they look in the mirror, they don't see their features as they are, but as a series of glaring flaws. They pick themselves apart from head to toe, feeling nothing about them is good enough. So one way of combating this behavior is to practice appreciating our positive qualities. For example, we may want to identify some small traits about ourselves that we like. It may be our smile, or our hands, or even a non-physical trait like our talents or abilities. But more importantly, learn to be appreciative towards our weaknesses too. Be mindful of when we are being too hard on ourselves. If we can sense ourselves becoming critical of how we look, we need to remember that everyone is different, and that our differences are what make us unique. Like Kurt Cobain said, wanting to be someone else is a waste of the person you are. But while there is a lot we can do to feel better about ourselves, there are also external changes that need to happen to promote a better body image in society. After all, it is our social expectations and prejudices that often drive our body issues. For one thing, Policies and laws can be established for greater transparency of altered photos in media. For example, in Israel, companies are now legally required to acknowledge that a photo has been digitally altered. Also, models who want to work in print advertisements now need to have medical proof that they maintain a certain healthy body weight. It would be nice if other countries would adopt policies like this. Creating laws around how we are allowed to promote the body can help reduce the promotion of damaging standards. It gives people a more realistic reference point to base their expectations on. Another way to help promote a more positive body image is to include more diverse body types in media. Some brands, like the soap company Dove, have created inclusive advertisements that feature more natural body types. Within the fashion world, more plus-size models are emerging too. Ashley Graham is a famous American model who has appeared in magazines like Vogue and Elle. She has used her fame and popularity to raise awareness about body image and self-acceptance. Plus-size models send a powerful message that all body types are attractive and should be celebrated. It's important to grow awareness about negative body image because no one should have to feel inadequate because they don't compare to a certain body type. Research has suggested that 86% of women feel dissatisfied with their bodies, and more teenagers are at risk of developing eating disorders. Children should not believe they need to change physically before they can have value as people. When we have a positive body image, we are comfortable with who we are. We accept our bodies as natural and attractive and aren't affected by prejudices about our personalities or value as people. We are free to be happy and confident and can live how we want without worrying needlessly about every pound and calorie. Surely it's better to live in a world where people feel this way. Beauty is beyond size, and true beauty comes from within. As Marilyn Monroe said, "To all the girls who think you're fat because you're not a size 0, you're the beautiful one. It's society who's ugly." There is not just one standard of beauty. We should celebrate the uniqueness and diversity of our bodies. If we want to redefine society's ideas about beauty, perhaps we can begin by becoming our own role models. Let's have a quick review. In the first part of today's lesson, we introduced a concept of body image and negative body image. Then we focused on discussing the causes of negative body image and the harmful results it brings to people. In the second part, we learned that overcoming a negative body image requires not only our internal self-improvement, but also external changes such as laws and media. We also learned that to build a positive body image, we need to realize that true beauty comes from within. And that's it for today. Thank you guys for listening. See you next time.